It's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show People of Distinction. The talk gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com today for more info, or you can always email me directly through benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have the impressive Donald Funk. We're going to be discussing his amazing book, The Secrets of a Killer Auto Business Plan for Success, available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. But people, if you want to gather everything that Don has in store, and I mean everything, because Don has a lot in store, you want to check out his website. It's called Don Funk Official Book Website.com. There you're going to find more information on Don himself, more information on this wonderful book, as well as find the hyperlink set up to take you to the purchasing pages. So again, it's a one-stop shop. It's Don Funk Official Book Website.com. And before we go any further, I want to take this opportunity and point out that Don was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by one of the best advertising firms in the business, and people you already know I'm talking about, CITI of Books. So for my writers out there who have written their book and now you need help moving it, contact CITI of Books. They're one of the best in the business to do it, and that's exactly what they specialize in. So head on over to cityofbooks.com today and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is going to help maximize your creative endeavors. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Don here on the line. Now, right there in the title, people, there's no beating around the bush. Okay, we know what we're discussing today. We're going to be giving some secrets to helping you establish a business plan for success within the automotive industry. But here's the thing. As Don will say it, his book is specific to people in that automotive industry, right? It's specific to those mechanics and the people that run their own business. But here's the thing, people, the underlying message of his book is something that can be applied to anyone in any business. Because one of the most important messages to be found in the book is how vital it is to educate and also strengthen the relationship with the consumer. Because listen, this is something I have always known as an entrepreneur myself. When you take care of the consumers take care of you. So it starts with them. You gotta make sure that they are always very well aware and educated on what is happening, because then they're able to make a much more comfortable decision. They look to you for that guidance and you strengthen that relationship, and it's nothing but success from there, because we understand, people, selling someone once is one thing. Now, if you do a good enough job establishing that rapport, guess what's going to happen? Those consumers are now going to come back and you have multiple business for years to come. There is a lot happening here, and Don is the expert for all of it. You're going to want to sit back, strap in, and have your notebooks ready, because this is about to be a wonderful education for all. Don, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing exceptionally well. Thank you.
Don, this is a pleasure to have you here, man. I meant what I said in my opening. You're on to something that to me seems so, for lack of a better, it seems so trivial, right? Taking care of the consumer. I look at that and I'm like, yeah, that should be the first thing for any entrepreneur. But you and I both know, Don, that's not always the case. And certain businesses do not take care of their consumer base, and we see the problems that arise because of it. So I love what you're talking about here. I love what you're doing. Before we go into your book, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background.
Well, thank you, Benji. I was born on my mother's sister's farm. No electricity, no ultrasound equipment, no plastic gloves, no white gown, no hospital, and no doctor. Upon my arrival, I was wrapped in a swaddling clothes, placed in a small shoebox on an open oven door of a wooden burning stove. I was one of 7 children. I completed my education and started my working career in a rural community for an independent tire repair and selling consumers tires and doing the repairs, including removing large agricultural tires and semi-trailer tires. Next, I was moved to the city of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, with a population of approximately 2,500 people. I had began working in a chain that had 28 transmission rebuilding and repair shops that were located across Western Canada. Next up on my career was being involved with the OEM dealerships, the car dealers, which are a major piece of the auto service industry. I was recruited to join the largest automotive chain in Canada, known as Canadian Tire, which had a massive number of retail outlets for over 500 auto service departments across Canada. Late one evening, I received a telephone call from assuming the discussion was going to be around some Christian community outreach or fundraiser. However, that was not the case. Rather, he was looking for an auto service manager to operate a 20 auto service bay department within the Canadian Tire store. This particular auto service center was ranked number 243 position sales-wise. The service department had been flat out for the past number of years and yet had a fantastic bottom line on it. So the next 2 weeks, I was blessed with getting a promotion to this new job. The dealer's son managed the auto service department, and after 10 days of the process, he informed me that he was going on a vacation. So the next 2 weeks with me, I've been blessed with good customer service sales. So we were managed to have a 10% increase in sales. The next month, we had a growth of 20%, and it continued during the next 18 amazing years of double-digit growth monthly, based on strong CSI ratings and skyrocketing service out of a small 17-bay service center to become the number one store in the chain, which was unbelievable. During that 7 and 8 months of the rise in sales, ranking of double digits of plus 30%, it caught the attention of the corporation's office, which was located in Toronto, Canada. I started out by writing some guidelines for my staff, encouraging them to become more informed. I was bold enough to ask them during the interviewing process that they would have to read a few books on customer service experience and to write a 2-page summary on that subject matter of customer service. This was the driver to future success. Growth happened quickly. As the saying goes, build it, right, and they will come. The corporate office called the Associated Canadian Tire dealer who owned the store and was informed that they were going to be sending out a filming crew to capture the best practice. This filming crew made numerous visits over a couple of years to capture footage for future ongoing videos that offered insight, processes, and strategies going forward. Before long, other Canadian Tire dealers from across the 500-store chain began sending their service managers to our locations. Some flew in and others just called in. The auto service center had created a lot of attention within the corporation's auto department as a massive growth was moving the needle and challenging the landscape of the major chain. This was so exciting. The results were eye-opening. My next step was to connect with the large television audience of the local community morning show, which had a local emphasis on morning programming. I approached the head director about running a half-an-hour automotive show, which consumers could call into the program and speak with the person, which was myself, on their own vehicle issues. From mid-October to mid-April, we started this half-hour program. Ask your mechanic about advice in regards to various vehicle concerns. Thus, the automotive sales took a major rocketing jump upward again, with sales going through the roof, vaulting a small location to the number one ranking in sales based on stores that had bay capacity up to 32 bays. This was all driven by the customer experience, which was right off the charts, and profits that were flat out amazing. In the meantime, I have written numerous of small books and shared that information across the chain. The business was rocking the corporate office and was all about the buzz that was created through our store. I gave the owner at one point a 1-year notice because I wanted to start my own auto service consulting business, which is the next step up, because the demand was there. This resulted in driving business skyward across the chain. As I visited other Canadian Tire stores across the landscape, I earned the trust of this massive chain. For each store that I visit, I prepared a 3-ring binder, which was filled with solid and valuable amounts of the materials that paved the way to their success. Then COVID came along, and my thoughts were immediately to writing the book.
Without further ado, Don, your book is called The Secrets of a Killer Auto Business Plan for Success. Tell us a little bit more about your book.
The corporation VP of automotive at Canadian Tire was reached out to recruit me to be his second in command. There was the constant telephone calls pressuring me to come aboard, which would make him look good. The long and short of it was that I would have to take a haircut, pay-wise, because dropping a couple $100,000 was not in my wheelhouse. So back to the book. The title is The Secrets of a Killer Auto Business Plan for Success. Here are some of the brilliant and powerful chapters that would tweak the interest of the targeted audience, creating an incredible Disney-like customer experience. Another chapter was Setting the Pace for Greater Success. The next chapter was Becoming Irresistible. This was followed by the character traits of an effective leader, and was creating a financial business plan for double-digit growth. So this tells us about the experience of writing the book. During the 5 decades plus experience, my first thought was where to choose the most critical titles and establish the framework that covers and captures all the details of a never-fail business plan for greater success. With this determinate mindset, this book became a leading industry book of all times. The draft was created for this awesome masterpiece. The next step was about putting more valuable insight and fleshing out the blueprint for an amazing success story. It was about sharing the insight and using major involvement from those that were already the heads of provincial or state automotive institutions and college, thus gaining greater credibility.
Don, how did you choose the title?
Having worked in the automotive consulting area for nearly a decade and 5 decades overall, plus in the industry, I quickly realized that management is often not using the entire playbook, and the disciplines over a period of time have usually shortened up the processes that should be involved. Once that was noted, all the book's details came together. Every step from small to big was included. I paid meticulous attention to include every possible detail in creating a masterpiece plus. This book is a flat-out award-winning book that will change and impact the automotive service industry if followed. This book is like hiring an auto consultant who would normally be charging the store owners anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 or more to change one's business. And for $34.95, this book with all the details can provide a complete look at the industry without leaving a solid, complete roadmap process to follow. Makes it a never-fail process. The details jumped right off the pages of this book for a fraction of the cost of the consulting, with greater details and a roadmap that will pave the way for greater success. As an auto service consultant, the results spoke volumes of the impact that I had across the landscape of Canada. This was before landscapes had the consultants that were moving within the industry. So now this tells us something about the things that I want us to know about the book as you look forward to it. The first thing in the book checks all the boxes in a magical and outstanding manner. It is about how to engage, educate, and empower the consumer, to inform and educate them so that they can clearly understand what is at stake. The word phenomenal and killer means that one is going to required to deliver a customer experience that is so amazing that it becomes the spoken process for your business, while it delivers and educates consumers that are completely amazed. It teaches the advisors how to involve the consumer by sharing all of the benefits of the processes that they're completing on the vehicle and the value of what the repairs will bring to this consumer, which causes the issues in first place and how to avoid expensive repairs in the future. Treat your customers as special guests. Oh yes, you will see where we can also add some pixie dust. It is about celebrating one success after another and winning the customers over for life. Finally, we need to add some jet fuel to the process to keep the fires burning from within by going on all out with the team to ensure that their guests are completely looked after and 100% satisfied. The mission statement was, we must keep our customers and staff on the radar throughout every situation, regardless of the circumstances. So one thing to bring understanding, the vital process of never failing to provide a glowing review of excellence from the clients that we have served. That's where the meat of this book is about.
People, again, we're here on the line with Donald Funk. We're discussing his amazing book, The Secrets of a Killer Auto Business Plan for Success. Head on over to Amazon and Barnes & Noble, DonFunkOfficialBookWebsite.com to gather your copies and figure out everything that he has to offer. This book is filled with so much wisdom. You know, we talked before about how you began as an author, but who inspired you to become one?
Well, you seek out the most successful people in the industry and learn valuable things that are further drivers to this business. One needs to share and reach out to people who are extremely successful. And at one point, for me, this was Dave Duplett. He was a great team builder, which is so critical and important about this industry. Just prior to my leaving the Canadian Tire Corporation store that was in Saskatoon, 4 of the top 5 executives from their head office in Toronto, Canada, flew in to spend an afternoon with me, talking with our team members while spending the better part of the afternoon continually asking questions of how we managed to put a small store with 17 bays competing against stores with double digits of 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, and 32 bays. Wow, that was exciting. The ride was unbelievable. They were so anxious to hear how this team was performing consistently at such a high level.
Don, who would you say is your intended reader for this book? And what is the main message that you want your readers to take after they've completed it?
Well, first, I believe with the experience and success that I had across the industry, my visit was to many shops. I quickly realized that the industry owners and operators treated their consumers far too casually. And then they wonder why their business was suffering. Secondly, this book is also designed for the consumer so that they have a much better, greater understanding on how to extend their vehicle life. This book is a flat-out brilliant success business model. The 13 chapters provide insight with interesting and unbelievable models. And if they follow the process, this will not only change your world, it'll change your life and that of your team members as well. This phenomenal book has already received the Platinum Seal of Distinction Award from the Overhead Department of Books of the USA, and has also been qualified for the 5-star Review of Excellence. The biggest problem is that mediocrity kills the business. You just can't be satisfied, because satisfactory is just a rating. It is right in the middle. It is average. How do you like your haircut? It's fine. Fine is like the F-bomb of customer service. To a lot of people, loyalty means that we have to keep our customers for life. We have to focus on the next time, every time. And this book will open your eyes, your mind, and grow your bank account and much more. I want to leave with one final thought. As I was recruited to fill out for an ailing service manager within this chain in the province of Alberta, the manager had gone to the hospital for his 3rd Crohn's operation. And as they opened up, the C word had taken over his body. It was during the year of 2015 where the oil and gas markets were literally on fire with zero employment. So I took the position to help out a friend that I have known for some 30 years or plus. Here was the awesome result. This store was in number 75 in the national rankings, so it was a top quartile stores. And over the next 13 months, we moved the sales rating to the number 4 position in the chain. With my experience, I laid out the roadmap going forward. I used the same emphasis as I've been written in this book, that it has to be a team process. And team building was always an essential and important piece of what I was offering. And this will never fail in the delivering of an A+ experience with each and every consumer, each and every time, which meant the staff had to follow a program of excellence. During this 13-month period assignment, new additional sales grew and jumped to 2.55 million in new and additional sales. That was a scary number, but it is about performing at a high level, and this book was doing that. Our sales, regardless of the category, jumped dramatically. For an example, for wheel alignments, over the past 13 months, by going through and doing a job code analysis, they had consumers buy 489 wheel alignments over that period of time. During my 13 months going forward, the wheel alignment sales jumped 2511, in other words, $2,511, or a 474% increase. Tires jumped over 300%. And throughout all the categories, sales were just moving forward because we were offering a complete inspection and following up to make sure that they understood precisely what their vehicle needed and how it would benefit them. During the same time frame, the corporation called the dealer who owned this store, and they wanted to remove 14 single-post hydraulic hoists for environmental reasons. My heart sagged. What have I got myself into? This process took 6 months and was done in 3 phases by removing 14 of the hoists that had potential of environmental issues. Plus, during that period of time, we recommended to the owners that we should repaint the facility, bring it up to the state of art. So we repainted all the ceilings, the walls, the doors, and the previous older pieces of equipment, and also received a new fresher coat of paint. This was a store that had excellence written across it. And finally, the 30-year-old lighting system was out of date and inefficient, was also replaced. Without these major rentals, I sincerely believe that the time that we could have had without all of these other repairs going on, we could have increased the additional sales of 1.6 million, which was, in my opinion, very achievable. This would mean that we would, in that 13-month period, set a record that would smash every record within the chain of 500 stores across the nation. This book needs to be in the hands of every individual who is interacting with the consumer in order to change and deliver a total killer experience for the customer that would want them to return each and every time, regardless. This is one awesome and powerful jewel of a book. You guys need to grab this book right now by visiting my website, Don Funk, official book website. Thank you for your time.
You know, Don, listen, I second everything that you said. People, this is something magnificent. And I'm going to come back to that underlying message of treating the consumer the correct way. I think so often here, listen, I'm sure it happens globally, but here in America, so often, so many businesses are all about maximizing profits. And at the end of the day, that a lot of times ends up stepping on the consumers to reach those profits. Well, what Don is talking about here is utilizing the consumers, treating them right. And when you do that, it leads to success. It leads to longevity. It leads to your financial freedom with your business. And here's the best part. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. This is a book that's written for the automotive industry. But people, the principles talked about within the book, if you read between the lines, absolutely can be taken and manipulated in some way or modified in a way to fit your business model. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's Don Funk, officialbookwebsite.com. Head on over there today, pick up copies of this magnificent book. While you're at it, pick up extra copies to get as a gift for others as well. Because when we all come together and we follow the plan that he has laid out, I'm telling you, people, success is on the horizon. And this book is the precipice of so much. So you know where you got to go. Head on over there today, pick up copies, get lost in all of it. Don, this has been a true pleasure, man, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
It's been an honor. I appreciate it greatly.